At the end of last week's Parsha, we were introduced to Avram, the 10th generation from Noach. In this week's Parsha, Lecha, God commands Avram to leave his homeland, his birthplace, and his father's house, and to journey to the land that he will show him. Avram sets out, arrives in Canaan, and there God tells him that this is the land his descendants will inherit. But soon after, a famine strikes. Avram descends to Egypt with all those accompanying him for them to seek refuge. In Egypt, they acquire great wealth and return to Canaan with many possessions and livestock. Back in Canaan, a conflict arises between the shepherds of Avram and those of his nephew Lot, as the land cannot support them both. To avoid strife, Avram and Lot part ways, with Lot deciding to settle in Sodom. It is only after the separation that the Torah tells us God appears to Avram once again, reaffirming his promise to grant him the land and to bless him with the offspring as numerous as the dust of the earth. Why does the Torah emphasize that this renewed revelation occurs only after Lot has left Avram? Many of Chazal do not look kindly upon Lot. His decision to settle in Sodom is seen as a confirmation of his flawed character, and his departure from Avram is interpreted as a necessary separation from negative influence. In other words, only once Lot was no longer associated with Avram could God reappear to Avram and reiterate his blessing, as if the divine promise required a pure spiritual environment. Yet Lot was not evil, misguided perhaps, led more by his eyes than wisdom, but not beyond redemption. In Sodom, Lot did attempt to influence its residents with Avram's ideals. He was unsuccessful, but he made the effort. God ultimately saves Lot from Sodom's destruction, not only for Avram's sake, but because Lot is considered one of the few righteous found in the city. Moreover, some of Lot's descendants eventually rejoined the Jewish people. Ruth the Moabite, for instance, a direct descendant of Lot, becomes the great-grandmother of King David. Lot wasn't rejected. His destiny simply lay elsewhere. He was not meant to be Avram's direct heir, but remained part of the broader story. And when the time comes, his descendants will return to join Avram's. The Netziv actually takes this idea further. Lot wasn't evil, nor was he cast aside. For God's blessing to fully take hold, Avram needed to stand alone, with no one else able to claim even a portion of it. As Avram's nephew, Lot could potentially assert a share in the inheritance of God's promise to Avram, and that could have interfered with God's plans for Avram and for the world. Imagine what might have happened if Lot had remained and tried to claim part of the Abrahamic blessings. Throughout history, Avram's descendants have each sought to lay claim to those unique promises given to the Jewish people, promises that follow a specific line, from Avram to Yitzchak to Yaakov. Now we'd be adding another branch of family into the mix. It's complicated enough as it is without introducing more potential claimants. Everyone has their own role to fulfill, suited to who they are. Some roles may be more prominent, others more hidden, but each one matters. Lot had to go his own way so that both he and Avram could step into the destinies that were uniquely theirs. Once Lot had gone his separate path, God could then set Avram firmly on his, to be the father of many nations and a light unto the world. Shabbat Shalom.